sign up. Here we go. Woohoo! Ready to roll. We're going to let everybody start. Man, I was punctual. Look at that. Right. Spot on 9 o'clock. I like it. Okay, wait. I realize it's 9 o'clock on the West Coast. I get it. It's not 9 o'clock everywhere, right? So we
You got
are
all the time
going
zones.
to,
Not our,
yes. And when you travel, it's really hard to keep up with it. You know, I'll schedule meetings here in California and then I'm traveling to Texas and it's like, what time frame was I supposed to be in? I forgot.
Right.
Awesome. Caroline, glad you could get that link and jump in here. I don't know if you noticed, but Caroline also posted a video into our members perk page. If you're not a member, I suggest you look into the Women in Drones website because obviously this is an amazing network, right? And we get so excited that everybody joins us on our Tuesday mornings. So Brenna, I'm excited to see you here. We were talking about you being a teacher and what a perfect time to be joining us. So Michelle, hey, hi, how are you? Michelle, where are
doing
you?
well. How are you?
Oh, fantastic.
So we're in our office downtown. We have a
Okay,
couple
wait.
of our folks.
Downtown in what state? Wait, what state?
So we are in St. Louis still, St. Louis, Missouri. Yep.
Okay. And that's a perfect way for me to kick this off because I would like everyone to throw into the chat where you are located because we are about networking, right? So throw it in the chat. Let's get this going this morning, right? I just had a conversation with somebody that was in Texas and I laugh because I realized, you know, California, when somebody says, yeah, I'm in California, they could be Northern California and it's 10 hours away from me, but I still feel that connection, right? So put that into the chat. There we go. Look, it's going already. You might have already made connections. Shaney's in Los Angeles. Oh, I like it. Right there. That one's very close. Linda, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Our Knights have won 2 in a row for the Stanley Cup.
Nice.
2 more to go, hopefully.
Awesome. Awesome. So I guess that means you are at home in Vegas at the moment.
I am. See, Stanley Cup final. Yay.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's where I am right now.
Yay. And Marie Louise, she's like right here in my neighborhood too. We have San Diego going on. Oh my gosh, that's right. Brenna. Wow, we have a lot right here in Southern California.
And I'm actually native to Southern California, so there's lots of friends there.
Ah, all right.
Which is great because we have some of the worst airspace in the country.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Between
Somebody-
Disneyland and
Yeah.
you know all the
Orange
Camp
County
Pendleton,
Airport, all the hospitals.
Yeah.
And yet we fly constantly.
Yep, because we know how to do it legally, right?
Exactly.
That's it. All right, so we're going to let a few more people jump in here. And while we're doing that, I want to go ahead and make a couple of announcements. So, hey, there's Felicity. She's jumping in here. And she was the one in Texas or Tennessee that I was having a meeting with. And I went, oh, I know someone else in Tennessee. And so I know, big state, right? Okay, let's let Johnny in here, and I do have some announcements. So let me go ahead and bump over to here really quickly because I know the real reason everybody's here is because of the amazing guest speakers that we have today. I know, right? But one of the things I want to do is, you know, we're about networking. And so if you have something really cool that's going on or something that your company is offering to women in drones and such, let me know because I want to share it because that's what we're about. We're about making that connection, right? One of the things I want to do a shout out for is Janice. I don't know if you remember at the end of the last year, she is a burnout coach. Well, now we're halfway through the year and now she's offering a one-on-one session. And I'm thinking, you know, halfway through the year, we had all these great plans in the beginning and now they've come to fruition. And now we're just like, wow, we could be overwhelmed, right? Or she's got some amazing tips and tricks for just coping with things. So I'm going to put that into our chat. She's got a link there for a one-on-one session. And then I also want to remind you of a couple weeks ago, we had the AUVSI review. And I think out of that review, most of what everybody got as a takeaway, Don Zaldai's Law in Tech was phenomenal. The reviews for that were just phenomenal. So she's offering another opportunity for Law in Tech over at the Energy Summit that's going on in Houston. So I'm going to put the information in there for that. Okay, so we have all kinds of great stuff. She says reach out to her. She's got a pass for her workshop plus the Energy Summit. So I put that into our chat as well. A lot of great stuff going on, right? Okay, so
Desi, really fast, I'll just say really fast with the coaching thing.
Yep.
And it's completely, just so you know, it's completely free. I'm doing market research calls to just learn a little bit more about, you know, those that are facing career burnout, career stress, they're tired of hustling toward their dreams. So it's just for me to find out a little bit more about that. And then in exchange, you get a free coaching session with me. I'll give you actionable advice to stop feeling that way now. There are only 6 spots left. So look in the chat and sign up like immediately, like don't wait. There are only a few spots left.
awesome. Jump on that, right? See all the amazing connections that we make here. And that's why I want to hear from you if you have something great going on. All right. And with that, I am going to segue over to our spotlight speakers. We actually have 2 people here today. We have Brandon Turk and Trinity Chen with Rocket Drones. And they are going to actually be sharing with us today about the drone industry and how all teachers can prepare their students. They'll be sharing a little bit more than that, but I'm excited. Also, Trinity is an educator, so it's exciting to have her maybe share some tips and tricks that she is doing, right? Okay, I am going to make you both spotlight for everyone. And one more time, add spotlight for both of you. Awesome. Brandon, Trinity, thank you for joining us on the Coffee Connection. And I would like to just kind of kick this off a little bit about take a minute and share about yourself and how you actually got into the drone industry. And Brandon, since you're on that side, I'm going to actually start with you because that's where you're positioned on my screen.
Okay, sounds good. Normally I would do ladies first. Sorry, Trinity. Well, howdy, y'all. Awesome to see you on the chat side. First of all, I saw the Tennessee folks, so howdy, I'm Memphis. Good to meet y'all, and I've lived all over America. So you San Diego folk, I was Point Loma sub base, so neighbors with a bunch of you. Drones for me personally started back a little bit before 2014, before DJI really got started. We were creating custom built aircraft to do jobs that clients and customers were asking for. And we got into the career side full time when my wife told me, Brandon, this is the next wave. You need to get ahead of it and you need to start your own drone company. And my mom raised me smart. I know to listen to my wife. So I took her advice. We started up our first drone company here in Western Tennessee. We've been active since 2014. We are active in agricultural research with the university. We do solar inspection, power line inspection, a lot of the infrastructure, you know, you name it, we're out there involved in it. And then our co-founder, Chris Ton, lives in Pensacola, Florida. He got the luxury job. He has the contract with Hatteras Yachts, filming all the $1 million boats, and he flies for Netflix and Hulu and HBO and all the TV. So he has the glory, and then I get the more of the infrastructure side. And we moved into education based on a need that we'll actually touch on here shortly. Let's say hello to Trinity, one of our favorites.
All right.
Hi. So I actually learned about rocket drones and started working in drones through Brandon. Actually, they did an event at the school I teach at because we're planning on making drones a full career path at the school I work at. So Synergy, the school I work at, is currently focusing on making students' careers the main head of their education. So the way that we're using drones in our education is that they're actually using drones to help them with math, such as like the more difficult maths like trigonometry, so that they can learn about all that we do with drones. And we incorporate all different subjects into our drone program. So it's not just them sitting down in a classroom, falling asleep or whatever they want to do, be on their phones. They're actually going in hands-on with the drones, and it's helping them with all of their education. And the way that I got into drones was through that event that Rocket Drones hosted at our school. I had never really been into drones before, I'm going to be completely honest. And I flew a drone for the first time, and it was natural, and it was something that I love to teach. And that as soon as I started researching it, I was just completely hooked on it. And here we are.
I think we see that quite often. We're hooked on it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's segue and tell us a little bit about rocket drones.
Sure. Well, I'll start out. I got to brag on Trinity a little bit. We were down there, you know, sometimes in life when you're traveling, when you're doing things. So we travel all over America doing the demonstrations. And we were down at Synergy doing a demo with their school. And Trinity came in and she was attentive. She was listening. She was watching. So we put her in a drone, and she did not just fly the drone. She flew the drone to the point that our lead engineer who was flying with her looked up from what he's doing and started watching. And it was actually a same day opportunity. At the end of the day, while we were going through different keynote speeches and whatnot, Trinity jumped up on stage, started running the show with us. And at the end of it, we all huddled. And I was like, by the way, Mrs. Principal, enjoy Trinity because we're hiring her full time. She is now Rocket Drones. And my team who was there started laughing. They're like, Brandon, we were going to tell you we need to hire her. So it's so exciting seeing it come on. And also the big push is the way she connects with our young ladies. The way the minds work of our younger girls is just astounding, especially in the aviation world. So Trinity, we're beyond happy to have you with us.
And I'm happy to be here.
Love it. Love it. So today, y'all, you know, we're not just here to talk about a product. We really want to answer your questions and help you out. We'll talk about rocket drones, talk about the product and how we developed it to help our students. But if you have questions about careers, the technology changes, the pay scales, anything you want to know about drone, how we can help you in your classroom, feel free to toss it in the chat or come in and ask it. That's what we're here for, is to be, you know, a resource for you all. So we'll dive in. First thing I want to do is I'm going to share my screen and show you a quick little YouTube video of rocket drones so you can see the gates and the setup. Then we'll talk about how it came to be and where it's going. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, so this is one of our schools. This is in Marion, Arkansas. And this is one of our middle schools. Rocket Drones is designed for grades 6 through 12, and we have a collegiate league as well. And then our elementary school coding program is in development now. But what was fun with this video, you're going to see, it'll show you a couple of the gates in the setup, is when we arrived, we actually handed the middle schoolers some GoPros because we want to get them engaged and interactive. So we said, here you go, guys, let's make a video and have fun. So everything you're going to see here is actually fully edited by the AV team here at this school. But take a look, it'll show you the aircraft, show you the gates, and then we'll talk about the program. All right, bring it back over to the screen here. Let's see how we do that. Uh-oh, Desi, where's the unshare screen button?
Hey, it should be at the top.
At the top, let's see.
And if not, it's on the floating bar, maybe at the bottom.
I have the floating bar up top. Let's see here, downloads, extension.
So let's see if I can.
Is not letting me go off that page.
How about
Oh,
that?
there we
I'll
go.
do it. I'll do
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate that. Thank you. So quick little video there showing about it. Rocket drones and how it came to be. Prior to COVID, we designed a drone program for a local high school in Tennessee. Being in the industry, working in film and everything that we do as a drone industry, the ability to hire a qualified pilot is almost non-existent. There are certified pilots all day long who have their Part 107 license. So they come in for interviews, we're going through the process, we're talking, we ask to see their flight log and their experience. And you get to the point where, yeah, I got my license a few months ago. I've flown my toy drone from Walmart a little bit. It's like, oh, can't put you on the power lines with that. So we got together and built a curriculum for a local high school in Tennessee. Just fun story. One day we get a phone call from Steve Wozniak's company, co-founder of Apple, saying, hey, we saw what you did. We want you to come work with us, build us a drone program. So of course we hung up on him because Wozniak doesn't call little redheaded guys from Tennessee and say, come work with us. Called the school laughing. Turns out it was true. And so called him back. Sorry, call dropped. Spent a few years working with Wozniak, which was a ton of fun. And then the world of COVID came into action. COVID hit. But the need for the drone education in schools continued. And the amount of schools that were reaching out to us was just enormous of Brandon, we need something more. And they gave us some list of things they needed. So it's a two-part company. For us, Rocket Drones is all about the curriculum, the flight training, and the commercial skills to get our kids ready for careers, whether it's in drones or in something that has nothing to do with drones. But to our students, it's nothing but flying, nothing but fun. We set up the entire racetrack. This is a full sports league, football, volleyball, baseball. It's a full co-ed league in schools now, both middle school and high schools, where we're bringing these kids in and they're racing. They're doing their best to get to the national championships. That's all they're concerned with, right? They want to come in, win, and go to the next level. But the way we designed it is through talking to industry and working with industry and going, hey, what are your struggles in hiring? What are your hiring needs in the next 7 to 10 years? And then we take that information, and that's how we adapt and write our curriculum, is based on what industry needs. Anyone can write curriculum and dump it into a school, but if it doesn't lead to my child or your child having that foundation they need to move into a career, we're really not doing them a ton of benefit. So we came in, created Rocket Drones Racing, but the backside of the curriculum writes in all of the needs that we need moving into an industry. So if I was to pick some names, so if we have Miss Shawnee and Mr. Paul here. So hi, Shawnee, I'm going to use you as my example. Shawnee is my pilot in command. She's the PIC. She's the boss of this flight operation. We're going to talk about the racing side and how it relates to the commercial side. And then we have Paul. Paul is going to be the flight engineer and the visual observer. So Shawnee takes her drone, hands it to Paul, and says, Paul, give me a pre-flight. Paul does his thing, does his pre-flight, says, Shawnee, you're ready to go fly. So Shawnee, you're tearing up the race course. And on turn 3, you notice you got a little bit of a dip on the front right side of your drone. Now your pilot training is immediately going to tell you, I'm going to come back and land for safety. We're always about the safety side of it. But let's talk about Paul for a minute. We get back, we land, we're inspecting your aircraft. And I grabbed one of the ones that my 3-year-old stomped on and cracked the hole. So we're looking at this and it's, oh, you know what, Paul, there's some hair in this motor and a couple of these screws are loose. So what we have is Paul, a teammate, failed to complete his pre-flight check. Paul gets to go home tonight in the commercial world. If this airplane or this drone had crashed, Shawnee doesn't get to go home. Shawnee's going to have a nice talk with the FAA. So what we're looking at and what we're doing through these experiences with our students is, Paul, I'm not going to make you cry, but Paul, I need you to understand what you do affects more than just you. You just cost Miss Shawnee a ranking in the national rankings. You cost your team and your school a location. So we're not going to be mean, but we need him to understand what you do makes a difference. What you do affects other people. And we wrote that in. That's one of the things that came to us through industry is oftentimes you'll have a Fortune 500 company and we're sitting here. I'm looking at Trinity and we're having our meeting discussing what we're going to do. And Trinity has an idea and I don't like it. So I'm just going to get up and leave. We start to laugh during these meetings like, what? And they say, no, Brandon, it's true. Like there's such a disconnect for the social skills, knowing how to have a disagreement and be responsible. So we take these skills, we write them into the racing platform where everybody has a job, everybody has a technique to do. The next side of it is, how do you make curriculum interesting? When we walked into our classroom during the couple of years of development for this, if we walk into a 7th grade class and we say, okay, Michelle and Mr. Bill Johnson, you have to know this. Well, I just lost 2 7th graders because I'm not going to tell them what they have to do, right? And it's like talking to my daughter, like, Dad, not going to work. So we come in hot and heavy with pictures and videos and different ways to engage with the students and show them why they may want to decide to do something. So when we're talking about brushless motors, chapter 3, we actually drive in a Tesla. We ride by on an electric bike. We show you power drills, diesel electric locomotives. And then we grab a drone and say, hey, kids, you know what all of these have to do with drone? The electronic flight controller, the ESC, is similar to what's running your Roomba vacuum cleaner that cleans your house. The motors inside this drone are similar to the motors that power the conveyor belts of FedEx, DHL, UPS. Drone touches so many industries beyond drone. We'll have pilots who come in who say, I have no interest in flying, but why are my propellers spinning different directions? Okay, you like physics, you're gonna learn about lift and the science. So we're able to really dive in and delegate and learn who our students are, what they enjoy, and where they excel. The thing that we do that we're really proud of, then I'm gonna let Trinity talk and open up some questions with you, is we build this for educators. There's been several companies that have tried to start a drone racing program for schools, and they never really did really well because it is a very, very hard operation. Trying to pull things off the shelf, get things to match and talk does not always work well. So we started from the ground up, from the programming, the coding, everything there is, so that when a teacher said to us, oh boy, more papers to grade, and I'm not going to share the screen, so I don't want Miss Desi to have to rescue me again, but we built the web portal. So when you go to rocketdronesuniversity.com and you're in there, as a teacher, I log in. I see each one of my curriculums for my students. I monitor the progress of where they are in the curriculum. I assign homework, I assign quizzes. And as our students go through and take these quizzes, they're automatically graded and sent back directly to the teacher's dashboard. So now the teacher's not going to have to spend the time and the hours of doing the grading. Same thing with the coaching. When it comes to coaching a drone league, not always the easiest. One of the benefits of our firm having a couple of media companies that we work with in the drone world is the video library. So every single step of what you're going to do, from unboxing the boxes to your first flight, your initial setup, there's a full video library that goes through every single step of what you would need. Because without support, a program fails. If a teacher or a coach isn't encouraged and excited, this program ends up in a closet. And right now, every one of us on the call, it's our tax dollars paying this for our students. So we do everything we can to make sure the students succeed, the coaches succeed, and the teachers want to use it. The last thing I'll touch on in the curriculum, and then we're going to talk to Trinity, is the curriculum that we write is designed to be a site license. One thing we noticed when we were in the schools talking was the disconnect of how history doesn't talk to math, doesn't go anywhere near chemistry. They're all kind of separated. So what we do is we've decided to open everything up. So when your school's on board and your 4th grade teacher is going to be teaching science and they want to talk about Newton, you can grab the curriculum. Not only can you grab the chapter on Newton, but we have the crosswalk built for that teacher for every state. So you can go in, select the state you're in, you'll see the crosswalk of your state standards and everything of where it applies, the chapter, everything you need for it. And we're currently touching just over 75 touch points from math, physics, chemistry, language arts, and a few others in the school districts. So we want the teachers and we want to encourage our educators, even if you're not flying a drone in your classroom, you can still use a drone to teach and get them excited. For me, I hated geometry. So if a geometry teacher grabs one of our gates and sets it up in the classroom and a pilot starts doing a figure 8 around it, now that geometry teacher can come in and say, you know what formula I just saw? You know what equation this brings to mind? Hey, Brandon, if you will let me teach you this formula, I bet we could shave 2.5 seconds off of gate number 2. 2.5 seconds is a win. That's a massive amount of distance. Well, now I want to learn a little more about geometry versus telling you you are going to learn about geometry. Trinity, I'm gonna pass it over to you as an educator and rock and roll superstar there in your school. Why don't you tell us a little bit about things and how you like the drone world with your students?
Well, you touched on so much of what I was going to touch on, but I'm going to kind of elaborate with it a little bit. It's so important for the students to have hands-on learning because the kids, they don't want to just be sitting in front of a teacher droning on and on, no pun intended, about all of their different curriculum and subjects like math and science. They don't want to just sit in front of a screen or wherever they're sitting and just watch a teacher talk. They want to actually have that hands-on experience. They want to, for example, in chemistry, they want to do the dissections. They want to do those things. And I feel like that's really what drones can help these kids with, is actually getting out and getting that hands-on experience with things like math, history, science, especially since they can take these drones and they can go to landmarks, especially the ones with the cameras, and they can get an overhead view of these places that they've only heard about in their history books. And they can get that experience of actually seeing it with their own eyes instead of having to stare down at their phones like they do all day, just looking at pictures of places and things they wish they can do. When in reality, with drones and with this integrated curriculum, you can really just give them, you can put the ball in their court and allow them to learn what they want to learn instead of just teaching them whatever you're required to teach as a teacher.
Absolutely. So, and I know y'all are just now getting started with your rocket drones kit, but you've been flying for a while, Trinity. So the first time you flew there in the gym, when you goggled up, what was your initial feeling? Were you nervous, excited? What was that like?
Nervous to crash, but very, very excited. It gives you the ability to have a very different perspective. I never thought that I would be into flying because I always had a fear of heights, but then putting on those goggles and being able to fly the drone without that worry of, for example, having a bunch of people in the plane and crashing it, just getting that first experience, I feel like is really important. And it was just incredible.
Awesome. Yep. And you did great. Like I said, our flight engineer stood up and turned around, looked at me. He was like, "Who is this student flying?" I'm like, "Nope, this is a teacher, also our newest employee." So it was awesome. I've got some stuff coming into the chat. I'll start to answer, but if y'all want to turn off your mics as well and ask or engage on any questions, we'll keep talking about programs and jobs and careers, but as the questions come in, we'd love to answer those.
One
I
of
see
the
a couple
things I
of,
want to circle back to, actually, you were talking about that career path and that input that you're having, and it was a perfect segue to let everyone know that Michelle did put something in there that they are hiring. And so that would be right in lines with when you're taking input and what you're going to be sharing with the younger students. What career path do they choose? And so that is exactly along those lines. And so, yeah,
absolutely.
it's great to see that the chat is very active, and we do have some that are saying about the overlap with the drone industry and safety, and that's my thing as well. I'm very big on the safety side of things. I appreciate any questions, and like Brandon said, open up if you have a question or anything that you'd like to do. Bill Johnson had a question in there.
Yeah.
And he was wondering, what educator inputs did you get in developing your syllabus?
Yes, very good. So a number of teachers, both from Florida, Tennessee, and New York. We are extremely heavy in New York right now. We were recently granted a statewide contract where the state will actually pay a giant portion of the program for every school across the state of New York to come online. So a lot of ours is based in New York. The individual who is doing our crosswalk, every time a new state comes on, we build our crosswalk to their standards, actually has a master's degree in education and curriculum, and he's an employee of the New York State education system. And the rest of them are individuals as we're going through on-the-spot trainings, as we're doing demos and trials. We're all about the feedback. So any teacher that we engage with that's going to be engaged in the program, the most recent one, for example, we were in Arkansas working with a college that's looking at joining us, and one of the deaf high schools came in. So, one of the things that we're really proud about is the inclusivity. We don't like seeing certain things are open to certain people and not others. So one of the things, or two of the things, first is the goggle setup. Can't really see it through the webcam, but the goggles are designed where if you wear glasses, there's inserts to put your glasses inside the FPV goggles. As soon as you do that, 2 fans turn on, they're running, so you don't fog up, so you're up and running. When we were in Arkansas at the college working, we had the deaf school come in. So right now, like I mentioned, we made everything easy. So as a coach, I hit race on the esports laptop that comes with it, and the Bluetooth speaker takes over. Racers, 5, 4, 3, 2, beep. But the audible tones don't work for those students who are hearing impaired. So we've actually now modified the kit, and all of our schools are getting a new shipment in August where the initial gate is now lit up, and it's directly in line with the goggles of the start gate system. So now any of our students who are hard of hearing, they don't have to have their own league or be racing anywhere separate. They're able to come in, goggle up, run the exact same track as all of our other students. And that's one of the ones that came from teacher feedback as we were talking. And it was like, hey, how do I make this easier for your students? What do you do in the classroom? How do you do this? And so we sat down and I said, well, the lights, and we had that discussion, and there it was. So that answer for that in the curriculum is it's you. It's those of you who are in the classroom that are active in it. And then the other side of it is really big, is the industry. We can only help build you professional employees, pilots or whatever they are, if you tell us what you need to know. Talking around different cities and different states, when we talk with organizations and we say, hey, why are we importing people from all over the country into our city? I mean, I'm seeing all these license plates from out of town. Why aren't we hiring local? And it's, well, Brandon, we just don't have the talent pool. And as an educator, that hurts. It's like, look around, we have thousands of kids that would love to get a job one day. We have thousands of adults that would love to get a job. So sit with us. And what we do is we actually sit down with these organizations. The one we just signed on, Siemens Technology up in New York, is what do you need kids to know when they graduate high school so that they can walk into your job as either an intern, a level 1 employee, level 2, whatever it is you want them to know. Then we sit down and we co-write the curriculum, just like we talked about. Everything touches drone in one way or another. And we build that curriculum or build a certificate into that and put it into the curriculum. So now Siemens knows, hey, and when we start hiring, here are all the schools in my hiring areas running the program where I know I can get a qualified individual. So that's our biggest chase now. We're running, the kids are racing. Now we want to meet these large organizations that are hiring. We want to find out what they need their students to know so they can walk right into a career.
Can I ask real quickly to Trinity, along those same lines, do you feel that the syllabus is really doing what Brandon has said, really energizing your students? And are they asking to come into that course and they want to be a part of it?
Sorry, I was muted there. Absolutely. Yeah. These students, they love the fact that they can go to whatever portion of the curriculum that they want, that they're not just stuck on that one area, that they can go around and do whatever, they can jump around and do whatever they want, and that they can see that it is going to set them up for a career, and that these people want what they are learning through this curriculum. They want to have the curriculum that is going to allow them to go directly into a career. They don't want all the extra fluff that they don't need. They love that the curriculum is just down to earth, exactly what they need for the career that they want.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, great question, Bill. And that's one thing, all of our curriculum idea or our curriculums, they go through. So you have the web page, it's here's what we're going to cover. Here's the items you need. Here's the breakdown, the chapter, the setups. But then we also write in activities. Again, we're glad the kids are having a ball racing. That's outstanding. Colleges are starting to offer scholarships to bring the mind, not necessarily because they have the mindset of a drone pilot, but because a drone pilot, when Trinity is goggled up, running around that track, she's not just looking where she's going. She's monitoring battery voltage. She's monitoring her on-screen display and everything that's going on. She also knows, because video signals in a commercial world and signal strength fails and goes out. And this is where girls really excel at racing, is when Trinity's going into turn 4, she already knows the angle and the degree she has to make to get into turn 5. Because if her video signal goes down, there is no, oh no, you better control that aircraft. Just like I'm going to tell you, when you go fly a power line, you don't do, oh no, you get my $80,000 bird on the ground. So Trinity knows I'm going to make this turn. I know when I have to throttle back until I get video signal again. So as the kids are going through and they lose the video and they're like, oh no, like, hey, that's great. Now, how would you counter that? Hey, did you know that when I was working the solar field a couple months ago, I lost my transmission and here's what I had to do to get it back. Why don't we try that? So they're flying, they're putting the racing skills into play, but it's also preparing them for that next level on the career side. So yeah, great question.
Yeah, we have a couple others into our chat. The Shani had asked, do you only have classes for children or are there classes for adults as well? Do you have classes for adults?
So right now, just education, grades 6 through 12 in colleges is the full racing league. And then grades 3 through 8 is the new coding racing system we're developing for the youngsters. We are not focused on adults right now beyond the collegiate side, though.
And
If you live near Memphis, though, and you want to go fly, give me a call. We'll go have some fun.
makes you want to take a trip there, that's for sure. Dennis had asked, or just kind of mentioned that he teaches a college class and he's seen the increase over the last 2 years. Very popular. It actually has become so popular. And what a way to reach students. And so another one came up for Trinity had mentioned that being able to jump around, does a career path branches from pilot engineer, or does it look more like a path from various skills involved?
Was that for me or was that for Brandon? Sorry.
Well, since you mentioned it, let's just say that that's yours. You take that one.
Well,
And if
I
you're not
feel
comfortable, Trinity, let me know. I know you haven't seen the new revised curriculum yet, so I know you haven't seen all of it yet.
yeah. Well, I do know for sure that it gives these students the ability to go for different sorts of jobs. It gives you the ability to go around and learn the skills that you want to learn. For example, like in some college courses and career, some like in your degrees, you have specific courses that you are able to choose which ones that you take. And I really feel like this curriculum gives you the ability to decide what basically courses that you want to take in it, so that if you want to go more towards the engineer side, to where you're the one working on the drones, figuring out what's wrong, troubleshooting, actually doing the mechanical side of it, that you have that ability. But then there's also the people that want to fly full time. They also have the ability to learn about those things. For example, if they were to be checking power lines or anything like that. And Brandon, I'll turn it over to you because I know you know a bit more about that as well.
No, you did great. You answered wonderfully. And you are correct. So the curriculum does touch multiple levels, from engineering to the pilot to the weather, whatever it may be. Now, we don't deep dive in on how to take apart a circuit and what it does. We'll teach them in ESC, how it works, how it operates, what it does. And really, it brings in that opportunity for the coach as you're monitoring each of your students going through the program and through the curriculum. You're able to see, like Trinity, I noticed you've been on chapter 4. You've been on entrepreneurship now for quite a while. You keep bouncing back to it. Let's talk about that. So, and it turns out Trinity has a big interest. Now that teacher knows, I'm going to go talk to the business teacher. Or if she was really interested in the mathematics section, I'm going to go talk to this career coach of the mathematics and say, hey, Trinity really has something here. Put a focus on this to dive into it more. So it's a very broad overview of the pictures, the videos, the interaction, the activities, and then getting the kids involved. My personal favorite chapter is the chapter on entrepreneurship. Things that I wish I had known in 2014 when I started my first business and threw away gobs of cash because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. I learned the very expensive hard way. So you're going to hear me say crazy a good bit over the next few minutes. We need crazy. And the entrepreneur section is our crazy. So think back. I say I'm old. I just turned 41. My daughter calls me old. But way back when I was younger, my dad would take me to Blockbuster on Friday nights. We'd get to Blockbuster, we'd grab the door handle, open the door, and we'd walk in. That was how we entered buildings back in the 80s. Nowadays, all the doors are automatic doors, right? At all the grocery stores. But you think back to when we were younger, the only time we saw was Beam Me Up, Scotty, right? That was science fiction, Star Trek. That's where we saw sliding doors and all this tech. That was sci-fi that now is so common in everyday life for our students. So in our entrepreneur section, we ask our kids to get crazy. I mean, we're going to teach them to build business plans and everything as well. But the first thing we do is, hey, we're going to build a drone. It can be ground, sea, space, air. Drones are more than just air, right? We're using drones right now to plant some of our fields. I want you to design me a drone that does X, Y, or Z. So one example we had a huge hit with was we had a third grade class walk by one of our high schoolers who was flying. They asked if they could come watch. I was like, yeah, come on. So I put this to the third grade class and I said, kids, and y'all, please do this. You're going to be amazed what you see from your students. I said, all right, guys, what's a chore that you hate doing? And there's one little boy, we call him Romeo because we have security for names and safety. Romeo said, well, Brandon, every Saturday, my mom makes me mop the kitchen. And I said, yeah, well, I'm married right there with you, dude. It doesn't go away. So he said, I hate mopping the kitchen. I said, all right, well, come on up. Let's get the whiteboard and let's build a drone together. So, picture a third grade drone, a bunch of boxes, but it had the first arm. And I said, all right, Romeo, what's arm number 1? He said, oh, that's actually the vacuum cleaner. I can't mop until I vacuum all the dust and the dirt. Well, that's smart. You're exactly right. Okay. Arm number 2. Oh, that's the mop. And on the front of it is a little sprayer I put on to spray the water and the soap. I was like, you're on the right track, dude. You're doing great. You're on wheels. You're not flying. I'm loving it. Romeo, what's this thing behind the drone that looks like a tail? What is arm number 3? He said, well, I didn't know what to do. So I put my dad's leaf blower. Okay. Why do you need a leaf blower? Well, my mom doesn't let me go to the fridge and get my snack until the floor is dry. Like, oh, this kid's driven by food. He wants to get that snack. But in doing that, he just designed a drone with that analytical thinking of I have to vacuum, then I can mop, but I have to dry it before I can get to the fridge and eat. And so the excitement of that, of, hey, buddy, let's work on this. By the time you get out of high school, you could have a working prototype of this. I would buy one, right? The crazy ideas of our youth is going to be our future that we're going to invest in so we can all retire one day. So as you all are working with your students, encourage crazy. We need it. If the technology is not here today, it will be tomorrow, right? Look at Elon Musk and the things that he's doing. That was just crazy ideas that now we're rocking and rolling with. I can tangent on that all day because I get so excited about watching the kids be creative. But
Oh, I bet. That is a phenomenal story. I was right there with you. It's like, oh, I could see it. And just their creative minds. It's just fantastic. And so this just really resonates with me being a instructor for a female drone program as well. I just, oh, yes. And you just see them thriving with the knowledge. We do have some more comments in there. And so, and we are going to be running out of time here pretty quick. Stephen had mentioned about setting up the next generation, working with skills around automation and thought-induced decisions. It's just fantastic. Bill Johnson, you asked another question. How do you get the teacher's coach on board with ready to use curriculum, and how long did it take to get from the decision to integrate the curriculum to actually integrate it?
Bill, you're on top of it. You have great questions. So drone racing simplified. As a teacher, if I tell you, hey, yeah, just give me a week and I'll have you up and running, you don't have a week. You barely have time to eat your lunch. So we are set up now when we do our trainings. We do both virtual or on site. So with our on-site one, I'll fly out. One of the team members, Trinity, will fly out. Within 3 hours, we have you completely up and running where you can log in, access the curriculum. You can see how to teach it. We show you how to blow up the gates, prep, code the drones, have them ready to go. And then every single step that we cover with you is also in the video library. So if you ever need to reference it back, it's a step-by-step process for each and every section. The next step that we just added in, and this came from, we were working with the teacher. I was like, hey, did you follow the video on changing the motor out? Well, I tried, she was just getting a little bit flustered. Hey, if you're flustered, we're flustered. Tell you what, here's a Zoom link. So in our studio, we have 3 cameras, high def, that can zoom in down to the nano, where we will actually go in and do a live view with you. So if you need to change out a motor, we'll turn the 3 cameras on, ask which view you prefer, and we'll sit there and do it with you as we go through that support role. So I would say, give me 3 hours, and as a coach or as a teacher, we'll have you completely up and running. As far as a school actually implementing the program, the day it arrives, we can get you set up. There are coaches' guides on how to test your students, flight obstacles, things that they have to do to prove they're ready, and then recruit. The biggest excitement from it all, though, has been the drone clubs. Yes, you will have a drone racing team, but not everybody makes a drone racing team, right? Not everybody can be on every single team. You have all this equipment, and I'm here to benefit every student in your school. Use it. Grab a second set of drones, because you don't want to put your Formula One race car in test track day with civilians, but grab it. Start a drone club in your school. Now you have 80 plus students going through flying, having fun, learning skills. And then Bill, you as the teacher, if you notice and you say, hey, Michelle, you're doing really well, I want you to come try a rocket drone. Now you also have a contender for next year's team. So get those drone clubs rocking and rolling and feeding, funneling right up to your race platform.
Awesome. All right. So we really are down to about the last 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything, please put those into the chat or open up the mic and feel free to ask the questions. While we're waiting to see if we have any more responses back, can you tell us a little bit more about the curriculum itself? If somebody was wanting to start this program with you, what are those steps that we would take?
Absolutely. So our website's undergoing a big remanufacture right now. So you can just email us, brandon@rocketdrones.com, and I can actually send you a sandbox sample of the curriculum to go through it. I won't try to show it on here just because the time sequence, but yeah, reach out to us. We can share the curriculum with you. We'll give you a sandbox login where you can go through and see it. Currently, we have the high school one up, available, ready to share. We have 4 or 5 more chapters we're adding in. We update our curriculum at least twice a year to stay relevant with industry because it changes so quickly. So we're going through one of our rewrites right now. That'll go live in August, but I can give you a little preview of the curriculum and walk you through it.
Awesome. Okay.
And of course, anything that you want to ask Trinity and talk to Trinity and get a young lady's approach. She's rock star.
I do, actually. I would like to know what has been your most rewarding and exciting part about joining this team?
That's a great question. The most exciting part is really getting to see the methods that they use to teach the students, because it's a different approach than what I'm used to. So I actually started as an educator teaching dance because I've been dancing my entire life. So it's a very intense change to go from something like dance to rocket drones. But it's very interesting to see the way that they teach the students and the way that they integrate everything into it, because that's something that I've never done before. And they get the kids so excited by, again, like the story he told, getting the kids to come up with their own creative ideas and use their creativity. And a big thing that I notice with kids is that they're always on their phones because they like to play video games. And one thing that Rocket Drones has done very well is make that drone feel like a video game. So those students that are so excited to play these games, they can go on and do more with that than just sit in their parents' basements all day and play video games. They can actually take that and move it forward and make it into a career where they can fly a drone. They can use that first person view, like their VR headsets that they all have at home. And they can really turn that into a career. And seeing the kids' eyes just light up when they realize that they can take their immense video game experience and go, oh, hey, I can actually make a career out of this. I can actually use a drone like a video game, like I fly my plane in my, let's just say, flight simulator or whatever they're playing. It's so cool to see how rocket drones can take that and get these kids on to doing something more than they ever imagined that they could do.
And one of your students, Trinity, is actually a national leader at esports, right? And that's, I don't know if we touched on that, we're an esport as well. So the ability to be on the computer, flying our drone with our specs through the esport, but then step into the racing world and have it physical in hand. And then now her next phase will be putting a full-scale drone in her hands and moving her outside to actual career training. So the progression is awesome.
I'm just seeing that. that spark and that beginning, and it's opening up an entire world of aviation that is just unknown to a lot of students when they're getting started. They don't have any idea that aviation is a career path, and there's so many different ways that they can actually take that career. So we have
Absolutely.
just a few minutes left. So if you could just maybe do one last shout out as far as a vote of inspiration to some of the attendees today, maybe a way that you want to inspire or something you want to share.
Absolutely. Trinity, would you like to say something?
Well, especially as a female going into this realm, I can see the female students. I'm finding ways to get them excited because they, like you said, a lot of people don't know that this is a thing. So just being able to see all of the female attendees and myself just be able to inspire all of these students to realize that they can do something more than they ever imagined. They can go into these realms that are called a man's world, and they can actually do more than they ever dreamed of, and they can actually do better than the boys in some aspects. It's just so incredible to see, and I hope to continue to be able to inspire these kids by teaching them and helping them achieve their dreams.
100%. And Trinity is 10 times better of a pilot than I am, and I've been doing it for decades. Like, I fly an airplane better, but she flies a drone better. Don't beat me up on my airplane skills, Trinity. No, absolutely that. And then the last thing, I'll kind of close it out, an encouragement with you. You know, we were talking about the young lady, I believe it was Janice, was talking about like the mid-year burnout. Students have that as well. So if you were to take any teacher, grab a drone, any drone, bring it into your classroom and just zing, zing, you know, say you're teaching world geography. Hey, who bombed, and bring in history. Who bombed London during World War II? Anybody know? We'll say with Germany. So let's put a drone on Germany, fly over. All you did was make noise, fly from one desk to another, but you just stimulated that child's mind. So you have about 5-minute window to teach your section. So use your drones, use the noise, get the kids invited and excited. And then don't forget, when you move in your drone programs, this is one of my hearts, is don't write off the kids who are shy, quiet, and troubled. Too many times we've been at schools doing demonstrations and we're told, don't try to interact with him. He doesn't talk to anybody. Well, there's a reason for that. Like, we won't go into it. There's a reason. This kid's struggling. So we target them. We're going to slowly say things. We're going to read that body language. They work their way down the bleacher. One of my best memories is one of the schools, the kid that we were told never talked to anybody, ended up on the court next to a star basketball player, bumping shoulders and laughing as they tore around the racetrack. We just changed that kid's life because that basketball player now says hi to him in the hallway, and the school community sees that. So don't write off the kids that are shy. You know, your robotics, your athletes, everybody's going to love it. But make sure you reach out to those students that might be struggling, because drone is an excellent way to bring them out of that comfort zone and bring them out to become more social and hopefully make some more friends as well.
Wow, that almost brings tears to your eyes. Oh, so heartwarming. I love it. I love it. Awesome. What a wonderful way to wrap things up. Trinity, thank you so much for joining us. Brandon, thank you so much. This has been amazing and very inspirational. And so I thank you for your time coming and sharing with us. And we look forward to following rocket drones much, much more. And I did, if that's okay, I did put your email when you said it. I put it out there for them on the chat. So I want to remind everybody to save the chat. And that way you'll have that information in there. I also put a link to the website on there so you can check that out. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to wrap it up. That way, if you have to go to another meeting, you've got some time. And a lot of thank yous already popping up into our chat. Brandon, Trinity, thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you, Desmond.
it.
Thank you for having
Really
us.
wonderful. Yeah, thank you. All
Bye,
right,
y'all.
we'll see everybody next week. Bill Johnson is going to be sharing with us next week, 8
Nice.
a.m. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and then we have Queen. She's going to be sharing with us from South Africa after that. So a lot of great stuff coming up. All right. Bye, everybody. See you next week. Have a wonderful week. That kind of wraps it up.